Metal Babe Mayhem is more than just an online store. It's a destination.
Shine a light on me when I'm scared of the dark.
MetalBabeMayhem.com carries over 150 rock and roll products, including clothing, jewelry, and accessories.
For good and not for greed.
Well, Promise the Moon came about in my first real original band when I was about 21 years old. And I'm dating myself now, but this was back in Springfield, Missouri, where I'm from. And I had a band called China Blue, and the inspiration came from the lead guitar player. It was going through a really bad breakup at the time, and the band disbanded later on, and I redid it and added my own twist to it, and I thought it was always it had the parts of to make a great song. You know, it had the ingredients. You know, verse, bridge, chorus, all that. So I've always wanted to do it, and so I did it in. God, I did it a couple years ago now, but it was sitting. It was on my last album, and I recorded it before my last album for a different arrangement on the lead, and it was just sitting there on the shelf, and I just thought it was a really good time to release it. You know.
Promise the moon tonight. You say our love would last forever. On and on, if we just believed. You said that it would only get better, but I feel the heartbreak coming to me. When will I see you again? When will this ever end? Promise the moon tonight. We're too late for love. Promise the moon tonight. I couldn't bend the one. If you promise. Empty rooms, walls closing in. Lying alone as my heartache begins. Those cold words I remember you said. Cold harsh words going round in my head. Can you see the love in my heart still burns so strong? Can't you feel the fire in my eyes is burning so long? When will I see you again? When will this ever end? Promise the moon tonight. We're too late
like most singles that I've been listening to lately, um, Promise the Moon definitely stands out in my mind, um, to my musical ears. And it's a very, very good song.
Thank you. I got to give a shout out to the producer on that song for this recording is a guy in Las Vegas by the name of Brett Hansen. He's amazing, and he basically uh, helped create what this song became. As far as sitting down and rewriting the lead parts, the lead harmonies and everything. Um, so yeah, I got to give him a huge shout out for that.
No doubt. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, would you care to share a little backstory about Kiss Night at Banff?
Yeah, yeah, man. I've always wanted to do Kiss Night. COVID kind of put a damper on it, in I think the year before last. So I was gonna do it a couple years ago, and it got I ended up having to. I had to. Frank Hannon is a buddy of mine from Tesla, and he ended up calling me in 19, I think it was. That's actually when it was, and I was going to do Kiss Night then, and I ended up singing a whole set of Tesla at a private party up in Sacramento with him for that. So I came back, and then this year, I think last year I was gone. We were out touring, but this year I was free, and I got a hold of the guy that puts it on is really cool guys by the name of Stoney Curtis. He's a lead guitar player for Count 77, Danny Coker's band. And Danny every year puts on Kiss Night, because he owns the club. And we had Bruce Kulick be the special guest. He was honoring his brother Bob, his brother Bob recorded on a lot of Kiss songs, man. And I was honored to basically, Stoney let me sing All American Man, Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, Tonight You Belong to Me, Goodbye, and Nowhere to Run from Paul Stanley's solo 78 solo record and Kiss Killers and Alive 2. And Bob played on all of those songs. So Bruce honored him and Stoney let me sing those songs, which is really cool, man. I hope to do it again next year. It was so much fun. It was a blast, man.
Very quickly, I just want to let everybody know that's watching, you're watching Hanging with the Dreamer featuring Jeff Carlson. There will be links, music links, and all of Jeff's information down in the description box below. Be sure to check out Jeff's original music.
I'll tell you, I've always been a huge, massive Lou Gramm fan. His voice to me is probably in the top 5 greatest rock and roll voices of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, my dad, his dream was for me to make it in music, and he always pushed me to pursue, and the words reminded me of when I was a little kid. And it came out in what, 1980, 81, something like that. So I was a little kid when it came out, but he always told me the words reminded him of me. And I lost him in 2020 to cancer, unfortunately. And I wanted to do it as a tribute to him. And I was honored to have my good friend, Mr. Frank Hannon from Tesla, play lead guitar on it for me. And yeah, man, it was a labor of love, I think when it comes from the heart, it makes a difference, I have a song called Screaming Inside. I have Crohn's disease, and I actually died for almost 3 minutes on the operating table on my first surgery. And I lived, thank God. But I wrote the song Screaming Inside when I was going through such health, issues that, it put me in that place to where I needed a creative outlet, and that's what came out at that time, so.
head hung low, couldn't get a ticket. It was a sold-out show. Heard the roar of the crowd. He could picture the scene. Put his head to the wall, and like a distant scream, he heard one guitar just blew him away. Saw stars in his eyes, and the very next day bought a beat-up six-string in a second-hand store. Didn't know how to play it, but he knew for sure that one guitar felt good in his hands. Didn't take long to understand. Just one guitar, sunk way down low, was a one-way ticket, only one way to go. So he started rocking, and he's never gonna stop. Gotta keep on rocking. Someday gonna make it to the top and be a jukebox hero. He's a jukebox hero. He took one guitar. Jukebox hero. He'll come alive tonight. In a town without a name, in a heavy downpour, rode he cast his own shadow by the backstage door. Like a trip through the past, that day in the rain. Now one guitar, and his whole life changed. Now he needs to keep it rocking, and he's never gonna stop. Some days I feel okay, some days I don't. Sometimes I gotta find my way back home. In and out of life goes by so fast. Some days you gotta make it last. Screaming inside, feels like I'm screaming inside. Screaming inside, feels like I'm screaming inside. Living in a jaded world, times get tough. Don't give up if you could only see what it means to live inside. You'll find a way. Look inside you every day. Screaming inside, feels like I'm screaming inside. Screaming inside, feels like I'm screaming. If you have a chance to perform in front of any crowd, what would it be?
That's an interesting question. Gosh, man. Wow. Kiss at Madison Square Garden on the last show. Go big or go home, right?
What do you have in mind, or do you have anything specific in mind for 2024 coming up for the rest of this year, 2023?
Well, I've got a show. I'm going to start doing some acoustic shows that are really cool, man. I mean, I do a wide range of stuff from my own stuff, obviously, to what I grew up on. It can run the gamut anywhere from Journey to Bon Jovi to Kiss to a lot of the 80s, Warrant, stuff like that I really enjoy doing. I'm going to do the acoustic show at the place in Las Vegas called The Artifice on the 9th of November. And then after that, I've got my team right now is going to be working on getting me some shows around regionally around Vegas and close by on the West Coast there, hopefully. And I'm going to be signing a new label with a new label in January called Dark Star Records. And we'll see what happens with that. Again, I want to start building my name out there. And the best way to do that is I'm going to just start doing acoustic shows because one, you don't have an overhead to pay a full band. You can make more money that way, and two, I can still, I feel like I can put on a really good show for people and build my name, and eventually when I get into a position to where I start making enough money to be able to, pay salaries and everything, I'll put together a band, but it's not going to be for a while yet. So I'm just going to concentrate on the acoustic show stuff. And again, it's a little bit of I mean, it's apples and oranges, but I still try to put the rock and roll vibe into it without, boring anybody or putting on I can still put on a really good show and it helps. I've done it forever. And if nothing else, it helps, mold your craft as a front man, as an artist, as a singer. You don't have a band to hide behind. It's just you bearing your soul to a crowd, which I think you can't really be taught that. You just have to do it, and it's all a learning experience, I mean, I'm hoping that eventually that will put me in a better position to where, because I mean, let's face it, this industry is all about a name. And if you don't have a name, you're not going to draw. And so I'm going to lay the groundwork to draw under my name. And that's where I'm at with it right now. And plus, the only way to, like I said, you don't you don't make money if you don't draw. And if your overhead is a lot more than you're bringing in, you're gonna, it's a lose lose. So I'm concentrating on building my name and doing my thing acoustically to where people go, oh, I've seen that guy. He's really good, that kind of thing. To where when I do have a band, I'll be able to draw more people, maybe be able to make more money and go up. That's the idea.
If there was a 16-year-old kid who wanted, who just knew that music made him feel good, didn't know why, wanted to be involved with what made him feel good in the first place, which is music, what would be your suggestion? What would you tell young budding up and coming artists that's coming to you for guidance and seeing about get some questions answered before jumping into something that perhaps that kid knows nothing about?
Well, there's so much you can say to that. It's first and foremost, make goals that are reasonable. I mean, if you want, at this point in my life, I don't have illusions of grandeur and think that I'm going to be, the next Bon Jovi or whoever, I just want to work, and I think it's real important to be realistic about your goals, but it also is equally as important to surround yourself with people who know the business and who aren't out to rip you off. You have to, it's a whole different world now than it used to be, man. It's all, the majors don't want to look at you unless you've got over 1 million Spotify streams, the days of being talented, quote unquote, and getting signed by being talented kind of went by the wayside. They want you to basically make it on your own before they sign you to a major, and it's, it is what it is. That's not really uh easy to deal with if you're not realistic, so I say always try to be realistic and try to surround yourself with people who believe in you, and don't give up. You keep doing that, and eventually you surround yourself with a decent team of people who know the business enough to make sure you're not going to get screwed over, and go out of your way to really, really try to learn the actual what's happening in today's world.